Okay, the meeting is now called to order. It is 11 o'clock a.m. on the dot. Thank you all for coming back for the finance meeting. And we won't procrastinate. We're just going to go ahead and get started and dive right in. So, Mayor or Shayna?
I'll start.
It's the mayor's budget.
You fill in
Okay.
the gaps.
Okay.
So the budget that you have here is substantially the same one that was submitted earlier on, with about I don't know, a handful of changes. So we did go back to try to find room for the cost of living raise. The funding just was not there for 3%, so we have included a 2.5% cost of living raise. The raise would be, as proposed, the raise would be effective January the 1st. This budget revenue matches expenditures, so there is no excess revenue. There's not a fund balance after this. This is a break-even budget, if you will. Among the changes from this budget compared to the one that you received in October, in addition to the 2.5% cost of living raise that was there, we did add $22,000 for Placer AI that will split with Parks and Rec, Tourism, and it seemed like it was in the, I think it's the, maybe it's the TID, the hotel program. So this is $22,000 addition there. We did reduce UNA's portion to $325,000, so we removed $175,000 from there. However, our agreement was made to UNA that we would commit to support the math and science building to the tune of $3 million, and I think we have, for that portion, we have a full $1 million. We had $1 million left on that, I think. So this actually reduces that sum. I do want to see us get back to the original agreement of $500,000 per year. Contrary to some comments made recently, it is very common for communities to support their local institution. As we sit here now, Athens State is, the city of Athens is helping Athens State with some residential housing, because at the secondary institution level, you're recruiting for every student that you get. And it's not, there's not, unlike Florence City Schools, has a ready-made captive audience that's required by law to go there. Colleges and universities are having to recruit students, and so you are finding Tuscaloosa, Auburn, Opelika, I think Montevallo actually passed it's either a half cent or a full cent sales tax to support their institution, which we're not going to consider. And Athens is actually trying to build some residential facilities there to help recruit students in. So it's very common for local communities to support their secondary education institutions. So we have actually reduced it, but I would like for us to strive the best we can to get back to that $500,000 per year. We did add $10,000 for the Shoals Business Incubator. I think they had requested maybe 50 and then 25, and we're down to 10. There were major cuts to the police department's budget. They've cut about $375,000 total. It did include money, which I think we approved for the body camera issue that they were having, where we're having to lease that. So they had cut 417, but we did add 51,000, I think, back to their budget. The previous budget did not come without benefits to the employees. Some of the benefits, in addition to the 2.5%, included the inclement weather policy, which had a total cost of about $225,000 to it. We did increase funding to the retirement fund. As you know, we don't participate in the retirement systems of Alabama health insurance nor their retirement fund. We are self-funded, so we have increased the city's match from 3% to 3.25%. To shore up our retirement fund, and we had a shortfall of our anticipated healthcare costs last year of right at $2 million. And so We have also added in sufficient funding in anticipation of some healthcare increase this year. So for the to the benefit of the employee, it's a 2.5% cost of living. They are getting the benefit of the inclement weather policy without having to use their own leave. We did increase the city's contribution to the retirement fund, and we have absorbed all of the healthcare cost increases without passing any of that on to any of the employees. It's worth noting that 11 of the departments who get funding in the general fund were reduced and actually getting less money this year than they got last year. The department heads they control really very little of their budget. Most of those are fixed costs. Salaries and benefits, we have anticipated increases every year for step increases and grade increases and different things that are built in. Again, the department head can't control those. They can't control what the utility bill in their respective departments is going to cost. So most of it is equipment that the department heads can cost. I'll quote our arts and museums department head. Somebody asked him, I think, hey, how'd your budget work out? And I don't. The numbers are probably off, but I think he said I asked for $218,000 and I'm getting $18,000. Give you an idea, and he had pictures of all the maintenance on the museums that needed repair work, just to show you how much we have actually cut from what they proposed in the budget compared to what they're getting. We are going to continue to monitor the overtime cost with this because it is a tight budget, and we're just going to continue to monitor that. There's, I was wrong before when I said, I made a public statement, I think, because the department head expected this in our paving project, that the money from 2025 accrued into the 2026 budget, and that did not happen. None of the money for paving from 2025 was accrued over to this year. All we have for paving is included in this budget. It's only the 2026 funding. So that's something we'll go back and clean up as time goes on, of how we'll identify some of those multi-year projects that need accrual, and we'll fix that. But overall, I think it's a very good budget. It is a tight budget. It meets everybody's needs. The employees are taken care of. After going back and looking through it, there's just not a whole lot of room for additional cuts for anything. Any future cuts that we were to make wouldn't hardly move the needle on a $90 million budget. So we could probably, we could trim away from things that people need. An example would be a $170,000 truck from the street department. Their equipment's big, it's rough. That is the piece that we're purchasing is actually going to replace a 2004 model. That and if you were to do a straight line depreciation of that, I think it's less than $9,000 a year for a piece of equipment like that lasts for 20 years. So I mean, those guys have taken the big equipment, made it last as long as it can, and if they had 3 more trucks right now, they put all of them on the street to work. So we've tried to be very careful with all the equipment and the needs that they've asked for. Try to give them what they need. Try to be careful that there were no wants. And again, if you were to use arts and museums, we cut him $200,000 from what he would have liked to keep this stuff going. But it's where we're at right now. So, what questions does everybody have?
I just have a correction, and I don't know.
Sorry.
Well, we've had a lot of numbers floating around. The retirement's going to 3.35.
3.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did
2.5.
well, and I know a lot of numbers were floating around, and I saw it in the notes from the last one. But it is going to 3.35 to 3. I think there was, after our actuarial reports from last year, it's kind of determined to go ahead and try to get that extra in there that we can, just to sustain the long-term funding of it. I'm trying to think if there's anything I needed to add to what you were talking about.
Help me with the sales tax revenue that we increased what we anticipated, and it's about $375,000 over last year's actual number, right?
Our projected for 25 is $58,320,000. So it's like 56. It's very it's not. I mean, it's aligned with where our 25.
It's less than 1% for sure increase for what we anticipate growth in the revenue side.
So there's no, I'm really not anticipating a lot of growth. It's just, it's coming in at
almost
actual, so, yeah. And, you know, there's the hope that with, you know, Christmas season and, you know, if we get sportsplex, you know, we get the regionals in here, that those events will bring in the sales tax increases.
You know off the top of your head, the breakdown and the trend over last year of the SSUT versus locally collected taxes, if the percentages changed much? I know it's been an upward trend statewide.
I haven't done any kind of update on the SSUT. I think it's trending up. I mean, I you know, budgeted about $3.5 million. And so I think that's a little bit of growth, or just right at where it was.
You know,
for
if we
this
get
year.
you know, there's a diminishing return on that growth, and that's, I feel, our biggest threat to our
Sure.
general fund budget over the next 5 years.
We prefer people shop locally,
Yes.
for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. We get 75% of that 4% that's held back
Right.
locally versus 60% of it. One thing I do want to point out, if you don't mind me taking the floor for a moment, for the purposes of the video, of this $90 million, basically, you know, 93%, as you said, is payroll and overhead, which we have zero control over. So that leaves 7%, and on a $90 million budget, that's roughly $6.3 million. There are some appropriations you can add to that we have some flexibility with, but overall about $7 million. And I've got 31 tabs in my book that are fighting over, you know, can I get part of that $7 million? And the biggest example of that is police cars this year. It's just under $1 million. You know, that's 1/7 for one department, and we've got, again, 31 tabs. So yeah, it's a tight budget, and I really appreciate the efforts that you and Shayna have put in to getting us to where we are, to get this on the agenda and get this thing passed.
Speaking of police cars, didn't they downsize? Didn't they ask for more? Didn't they reduce?
Last year, they only got 2,
Right.
and so we're trying to make that up this
Right.
year. I mean, it's and I think I said that wrong the last time as well, so thank you for the opportunity to do that. These are old numbers, but we used to say, and the numbers were, we would put 1.5 million miles a year on vehicles. And so if you were to say a police car would wear out at 150,000 miles, and that's 10 police cars. That's what we used to try to base that on. We would drive 1.5 million miles a year, and if you want to say at 150,000 miles, a police car, because it sits and idles a long time, if it's worn out, we would want to replace 10 a year. So last year they got 2. I think this year in there, is it 8? What are we up to?
No,
I have to go back and look.
11. There's
It's
11
11. So we did try to, we tried to meet this year's needs and try to catch up some from last year, and it's still, I mean, they just average out over 2 years, it's 13, so it's, you know, less than, it's 6.5 cars, and really they need 8 to 10 to keep it going. So we did make up some ground this year that they lost last year. Try to break that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And Jackie touched on the appropriations, because I did have some concerns about some of the appropriations, such as the cut in the Music Preservation Society, which we know that's dealing with the Handy Fest. I think they had been getting maybe 20,000, and they would cut 10,000. And I'm gonna say them all, and then Shana, you can elaborate. I was also concerned about the Borough Slater. That was cut, I think they had asked for 10, and they maybe got 5. And also I questioned the revitalization cut. And of course, I don't think that should have been cut. I think revitalization, concerns about funding projects within all of our districts, that's going to be coming up for discussion real soon. So I'm concerned about that, on that part of it. I think that was mainly. So Shana, if you want to
Well, and-
elaborate, if I need to repeat them back to you, I can.
No. So both of those, Handy and Beryl Slater, did not even request it or did not even request it appropriately. So those were kind of the issues with those two, is they didn't even request it. So rather than cutting it completely, just cut it in half. So
When you said they didn't request, they didn't ask for anything,
Correct.
is that what you're saying?
they didn't ask it. They didn't send any kind of request at all.
And do they
The only-
typically?
But all the others do, yes. All the other appropriations do request the funding and send a list of what they were planning on doing with it. The only thing I received from Beryl Slater was their financial report. And so they did not even request it. They just sent a financial report of what they had done last year.
And music preservation didn't even ask for the 10?
No,
Do they typically ask for it?
not in years past, they haven't.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it's just, but and I've said it before, if these agencies and organizations are requesting this money, they know they need it, they need to request it.
And when is that timeline that they need to make these requests?
I know last year, I think by the end of July was preferred, because typically with this budget, it's a lot of August and September working to get it complete into the council. Revitalization, it's kind of like the account that I hate to say it's a plug account, but it is. But that also goes back to, if there are projects that need to be funded, we need to be aware of it so we can budget appropriately. It's really hard to do a budget when we have all these surprises that come in. If there are projects that are in the works that are either have been in planning, haven't made it to the construction, we need to know those so we can budget that and not just be surprised with it. This revitalization, if you will, call it a to be determined account, that if things do come up, there is a little bit of a cushion there to do those projects. But I think that would kind of, and I've said it before, is asking the department heads to do a capital project, a plan it out. It makes this budget easier. We're not in for a lot of surprises as we were last year. Last couple of years, we've had several projects that came in drastically over budget, and it was, I wouldn't say it's detrimental, but it's hit the general fund, and it's not a pretty sight. So we do need to have those planned better.
And hopefully we will, going forward, have those
Sure.
planned better so we don't have to have all that.
It better be a drastic emergency for a department head to come with,
Absolutely.
hey, we need extra funds for whatever this year, because, it's just gonna wait till the following budget year, which is partly why I'm hoping we can get ahead of some of the projects that's important to the council, and we can kind of make a plan for those as well, come up with a budget for those moving forward. So instead of us just having to have this catch-all, we
Right.
kind of we know in advance what it is, otherwise it'll wait till we can budget for it.
And thank you, Mayor, for reaching out to the council, asking everybody, so to speak, what their little wish lists are. And you asked that, and we're going to get you that.
Yeah, there's things that are important to you all. We want to know what it is, and we may not be able to get them all in year one, but we're going to try to plan and budget.
Let's strive for it, yeah.
That's right.
So thank you for asking us for that.
Sure.
Anybody else? Mr. Bowling? Okay. Mayor, do you have anything else
No,
you want to
no.
add? Ms. Shayna? Okay. So let me make sure. Providing this Finance Committee passes this budget on to the full council, which they will get it. This would be voted on January the 6th, which is the first council meeting of the new year. So let me ask you this. Well, it wouldn't be a back pay for the cost of living raise. It would.
Just,
Because it was
Just
started
right on time.
January.
January 1st.
So that's
yeah.
good.
It'd
That's
be a
good.
little behind, but
Yeah.
it's not hard to
Yeah.
account for that.
And I know we've had some concerns, and Mayor touched on it, people concerned about a $90 million budget. Shayna, can you explain where the city is financially? Are we hurting? Are we in trouble of collapsing? Can you just elaborate about that? Let's try to shut some of that down.
Over all funds, and when I say all funds,
Can't run a city without a budget.
Correct. Well, and when in like a cash and bank, there is more than $35 million overall funds. And when I say overall funds, I'm talking about liability, solid waste, general fund, plenty of money in the bank. Our net assets at the end, which general fund is going to be about $23 million for last year. The $2 million from the health insurance, really dug into those net assets last year. But no, we are good financial shape, plenty of money in the bank. The assets are good, so, no, we're fine. We're good.
Good. I think that was very important and
Sure.
necessary for the citizens to know. With their taxpayers' dollars, we're trying our best to be good
Sure.
stewards of that, and we're not in a financial situation that the city of Florence is going to collapse, but we're also not in a financial situation that we're just going to just dibble out money
No,
either.
no,
So,
no, not at all.
just want to make sure that everybody knows that. And I know I get a lot of questions. I'm sure each of you do. Money was not appropriated per se to our districts. It doesn't necessarily work like that, but however, as I just stated, the mayor has reached out to each council member and asking us some of the things that we are looking for to be funded and come forth within our district. And so, again, that's going to be coming real soon. And we're delayed because we just had a lot going on. We want to get the budget passed, so that is coming. So I want to make sure that we point that out. And no district's going to be left behind. You're going to hopefully see some progress and some movement, some things happening. Anything else? Anybody want to elaborate before we?
So just go, and I'm looking at the pay dates, just going back to the cost of living, it's effective January 1st. The January 2nd payroll will not cover that payday or payroll anyway, so the January 16th would include. So there's no back pay. It should be within that pay date range.
So
that
it'll start.
catch it.
Good,
Mhm.
good. That's real good.
It'll be effective that date, and our system will pick that up based on and automatically apply.
Okay.
You entertain motion for,
Yeah.
do the full
If y'all don't
budget.
have nobody has anything else.
So I make a motion, we move the budget to the full council at our next available council meeting.
A second.
Okay, it's been properly motioned by Mr. Hendricks, second by Mr. Bowling, that we accept the budget as is and it be presented to the full council at the next council meeting. Any more discussion? One thing I want to say, the budget is a budget. It's like a roadmap. It can be amended at any time the council so desire, and certain things in here would have to come by resolution. So just because it's in here, it's not a 100% automatic. It's going to have to come by a resolution. So I wanted to make sure that, put that out there, understand that. I know there's oftentimes a lot of misguided information. We're here for transparency. That's why we're back today. And just want to make sure that all the citizens understand how this process worked. And I'm sure that the mayor, Ms. Shana, myself, and any council member is willing to always take any questions from the citizens. If you have questions, feel free to call us. I know you can certainly call me, and I know you can certainly call the mayor and Councilman Hendricks and Bowling, and I'm sure, like I said, any other council members. So I want to make sure that you know that we are a resource. We're here, that you can call us anytime if you don't understand something. Sometimes if it seems far-fetched, call us and get an understanding. I don't mind taking the time. And if I don't know the answer, there's plenty of people surrounding me who knows the answer and who will make sure that we get you what you need. So if no other discussion, all in favor of the motion? Aye. Okay, no opposing. So at this time, let the record reflect that we will pass the budget on to the full council, which will come up in our next meeting, which will be January the 6th, right here in the auditorium.
Thank you very much, all of you.
All right.
Thank you,
If I
Shane.
get an adjournment, want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All right. Motion adjourned.
In favor.
Thank you.
All in favor?